Welcome to the Commonwealth Matters. I'm Richard Nelson with Commonwealth Policy Center here with Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron in his office and on location in the Capitol. Daniel Cameron, welcome to the program.
Richard, always good to see you and always glad to be on the program.
Appreciate your time. We had scheduled this program for back in December, but you were called away to West Kentucky, which was devastated by tornadoes, and you were working on an effort to stop price gouging. Real quick, you set up a hotline, you had people in the field observing any actions that might have been taking advantage of that situation. Just very briefly, how did you see a lot of unscrupulous activity, price gougers in that part of the state?
Well, we got a few reports of price gouging, and I think even in the Bowling Green area, there was a few individuals that were trying to take advantage of the situation and steal goods or items from people's houses that had been torn down or destroyed. So we continue to have a registration program that we are working with locals that in counties that have been hit hardest, so that when contractors come into these communities, there's a comfort level for folks in these counties as they're trying to rebuild and making sure that they're getting legitimate contractors to work on building back their homes.
That's good. We appreciate your efforts to protect Kentuckians who were hit hard. I want to pivot in the short period of time that we have. A lot of things to talk about. We're limited with time, but vaccine mandates. As we speak, there are major protests going on in Canada's capital where protesters are flooding the capital against vaccine mandates. I think it's been a little more restrictive there. But here in the United States and in Kentucky, you have pushed back against government overreach regarding vaccine mandates. You led, for example, 27 states in a letter asking OSHA to withdraw their COVID vaccine mandates for businesses of 100 or more employees. What do you say? We'll get right to it. What do you say to critics who say you don't care enough about public health?
Well, I've maintained from the very beginning, Richard, as you know, that we've got to take care of each other. And I think all of us here in the Commonwealth and across this country instinctively understand the responsibility to keep people safe. What our office has been focused on in tandem with that responsibility is to make sure that any precautionary or medical measures that are taken during this pandemic are consistent with and abide by our constitutional rights and freedoms in this country. You take the OSHA mandate or the CMS mandate or the federal contractor vaccine mandate, any of those in our judgment are an intervention in the federal government in the ability of a state to make a decision about the health, safety, and well-being of its citizens. That is generally and historically a role that a state has played in looking after the health, safety, and well-being of citizens. That's not something that's been dictated by Washington, D.C. So we felt very strongly about standing up for the constitutional rights of our citizens, and that delineation, if you will, between the federal government and state government. The 10th Amendment says pretty expressly and pretty plainly that those powers that are not given to the federal government are reserved for the states. Health and safety is reserved for a state to decide. And so we felt good about our position. Of course, in the OSHA case that went to the Supreme Court, and were able to get that mandate overturned, which we followed up with our letter to OSHA advising them not to do anything inconsistent with that Supreme Court decision. We were victorious on the federal contractor mandate, meaning that folks that did business with the federal government don't have to necessarily be vaccinated if they don't choose to do so. We did not get a favorable ruling in the CMS case. That's requires that nurses and folks that in the healthcare community be vaccinated. We continue to look at ways to challenge that ruling. We think there's been some change in the status of COVID and the Omicron variant as it relates to the CMS rule. So we continue to fight on that front. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure we're standing up for the rights of our citizens.
There's one more challenge you made, General Cameron, to the Biden administration's mandatory vaccinations for Head Start staff, and you argued that it would probably, Head Start in Kentucky probably lose staff. What is the status?
Well, that continues. We got that In the Fifth Circuit in Louisiana, we've gotten that Head Start vaccine mandate stayed, or it's been stopped from putting into effect. But there are several steps that have to move forward on that particular case, and hopefully we'll continue to get good rulings out of that case.
General Cameron, the sanctity of life and protecting it is one of your priorities that you have listed from the very beginning. A couple of pro-life efforts that you have initiated. You filed a lawsuit with 11 states to protect against taxpayer funding of abortions. Mm-hmm. You've led 21 states with an amicus brief in support of Tennessee's waiting period law regarding abortion. It's expected, or many Supreme Court watchers are anticipating a favorable ruling by the court challenging another state law that could overturn Roe v. Wade. If that were to happen, what does that look like for Kentucky, first of all? And what does it look like for your office if the issue goes back to the states?
Well, as you know, Richard, Roe v. Wade's been on the books for 49 years, and that's just 49 years too long, in my view, and I think a lot of the folks that are watching right now. I'm hopeful that when the decision is rendered by the United States Supreme Court, it returns the ability back to the states to make decisions as it relates to pro-life measures. Here in Kentucky, we're currently defending two pro-life laws, Senate Bill 9, which is the heartbeat bill. What happens in the Dobbs case that we're talking about will have direct impact on Senate Bill 9, our heartbeat bill. That heartbeat bill we can continue our defense of that heartbeat bill if we get a favorable ruling in the Dobbs case. And then, of course, we've got the anti-discrimination ban, House Bill 5 that was passed a couple of years ago. We continue to defend that case. We think there was a decision out of Tennessee recently that favors our view as it relates to banning discrimination related to abortions. So we're going to continue working on this fight, and I'm pretty confident our legislature, depending on what the United States Supreme Court does, will be ready to continue advancing the ball related to pro-life laws.
One other pro-life initiative is you're asking the Supreme Court to allow your office to defend House Bill 454, that's the gruesome dismemberment abortion ban. Has there been a ruling on that, or are we still waiting?
We're still waiting, and again, optimistic that we'll get a favorable ruling. At the end of the day, what we're asking is that the Attorney General of Kentucky be allowed to continue defending this really important law that bans this live dismemberment abortion, and so we're hopeful we'll get a favorable ruling there.
Human trafficking. This is a priority issue for your office. Your office was recently awarded $600,000 from a federal grant to provide transitional housing for human trafficking survivors in southeast Kentucky. When I think of this issue, General Cameron, I have a hard time imagining that it's here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but it is. Can you give us an idea of how serious it is or how widespread this is?
Yeah, well, it affects every community in the Commonwealth, and what we have prioritized is making sure that there's more awareness about it, meaning whether it be an awareness campaign we started last year called Your Eyes Save Lives, which is a simple message but a profound one, meaning that having 360-degree awareness can be the difference between somebody being subjected to human trafficking or getting out of a very dangerous situation. So we're going to continue to work on our efforts there. We've got Heather Wagers, who heads up our human trafficking work and does a fantastic job. We've obviously got some events that come to Kentucky, whether it be the Farm Machinery Show or the Kentucky Derby, that attract elements of human trafficking. So again, it's an issue that affects all communities in Kentucky, and we want to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to make people aware of the situation.
Social media has been in the news for some time, especially in regards to its effects on children. You are co-leading a nationwide investigation into Meta, formerly known as Facebook, for providing and promoting its social media platform in ways that would possibly harm children. We know of the addictive nature of social media. We know of some of the content that's there that's not healthy for children. Could you give us a little update on how that investigation is going?
Yeah, the investigation, can't speak specifically to it, but suffice it to say that we are looking at these online platforms and trying to make determinations about whether their promoting of these tools is having negative consequences and effects on children. You know, a lot of challenges that we see for children. Look, I've got a 5-week-old at home right now, and so I think about this, and I know my wife Mackenzie does too. But as he grows up, you know, the pressures that are put on a child because of social media and the images that they see there that could have long-term effects on a child into becoming an adult are things that we need to focus on, not only as parents but as folks in positions of leadership. And so this investigation, along with a letter that we wrote recently to Meta, encouraging them not to promote Instagram to children because of some of the challenges that exist, are really important to me personally, and I know a lot of folks across Kentucky value making sure that kids are protected online.
There is a precedent of large corporations that target children with inappropriate content or activities. I'm thinking of Joe Campbell back in the 90s when Big Tobacco was sued by the federal government, and Joe Campbell had images that appealed to young children.
Yeah.
And in a similar vein, I'm guessing that's what Instagram and some of the other social media outlets are doing.
That's exactly right. And we, you know, again, are looking into the strategies that they're utilizing to attract kids and the challenges that exist because of that.
Religious freedom. This is another one of your priority issues. You have recently led a coalition of 12 states. You're leading a lot of coalitions, by the way, aren't you?
Well, we've got a great team here in the office, and fortunate and blessed to have folks that are really talented to be able to do some of this stuff.
So there's a 12-state coalition that you're part of, that you're leading. You filed an amicus brief before the U.S. Supreme Court supporting a religious group's First Amendment rights in the city of Boston to put up a Christian flag in a public forum. Now, that public forum was used by other organizations that could put other kind of flags up, but this Christian group was discriminated against and told that they cannot do it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that case?
Yeah, I mean, you've laid out the facts pretty well. I mean, this is a First Amendment issue and challenge. And this group and organization in Boston should have the exact same right as any other organization to make sure that they can hoist their flag up, and they shouldn't be discriminated against because it's a religious or Christian message.
Attorney General Cameron, we are out of time. I wish we could continue on. We'll have to do it again.
Of course. Whenever you want to come over, I'm obviously happy to come over to your place too, and enjoy speaking with you and enjoy getting to spend some time with your viewers.
Yeah, love to have you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Larry.